Hey guys, Poulin here from Party Time DJ Services with yet another powered speaker review. Now these are some of my newest cabs. I just purchased them a few weeks ago. These are the KX Audio KX12. Now the KX Audio KX12s are produced by a company called KV2 Audio. Many of you are probably not familiar with the KV2 Audio name, but you may be familiar with the person who who owns the company, a George Crampera. He started work a long time ago at Yorkville and also at RCF for a very long time, designing the popular art series. Eventually he left RCF when it was bought out by Mackie, and at that time he worked for a while with loud transducer design at B&C. B&C, another loudspeaker company that whose products you'll find in FBT boxes for those of you who know FBT, but some really higher end products he was designing. After that, I believe while he was at BNC or shortly after, he created the Fusion system with an older RCF buddy named Marcello Vercelli. And eventually, after leaving Mackie, because he wanted to design some higher end products, he created his own company called KV2, the K standing for Crampera and the V for Vercelli, his partner. And also, they met up with another old partner, an older work partner who used to work at RCF, who had created his own company as well, called 18 Sound. So 18 Sound, also an Italian company producing some high-end drivers for many manufacturers around the world, but mostly found in higher-end products. So anyway, there's a little bit of company history of how the KV2 name was created. And the objective of KV2 is to create some loudspeakers with very low distortion, and also that maintain their high SPL even after continuous use, which is something that a lot of competing companies cannot claim. If ever you've noticed a gig where you've been playing for half an hour at really high levels, it seems you always need to bring the volume up. That's usually due to power compression and the heating up of the voice coil. And that's one thing at KV2 Audio that they decided to do, is work to make sure that to keep any heat production at a minimum, especially in the voice coil, to avoid this power compression, so that the KV2 Audio speakers would be as high in SPL after an hour or two of playing music as they were to start with. Same thing with they wanted to reduce distortion as much as possible to keep the signal as it was fed to the speaker, to keep it as nice and clean as possible. So anyway, the KX Audio KX12 is a 500 watt powered speaker with a 2.5 inch voice coil high frequency driver, 1.4 inch exit horn. We also have a 12 inch woofer with 2.5 inch voice coil. Now the first thing that, when I auditioned these speakers, the first thing I noticed is that they didn't have that, that mid-scooped hi-fi sound that found in a lot of the newer powered speakers. And at first I thought, well, it kind of felt like it sounded like it sounded like a studio monitor. So at low volumes, I was like, well, okay, it sounds okay, but only when I bring up the volume is when I realized just how good these things sounded. It's something, the high frequency horn simply brings out vocals in a way that I've never heard in any other speaker. The clarity is unbelievable. And those of you who have heard a 2-inch exit horn, sometimes they're not so good at reproducing those higher, sweeter frequencies that the 1-inch exit horns can. So I think this here, the 1.4 inch exit, is kind of like a compromise between the two. And they did a really great job with this one. All I can say is that the clarity that comes out of these speakers is something I've never really experienced with any other speaker. Vocals come out nice and crisp and loud. The mid presence is phenomenal, but not in a bad way, just in a way that you're not used to. I was not even able to bring them up to limiting in my studio just because they were so detailed and bright, and yeah, I almost hurt my ears just trying. So I've decided to leave that up to the next gig I do with them. So we'll have a look at the back of the speaker. Just a minute. Here's a look at the back panel. Very simple. Look at the top here. You got your power LED that's green, and when the limiter is active it turns red. A signal or thermal indication, which should not ever light up unless you're really pushing things too much. Then you have a high pass filter, very convenient when using subwoofers. Your main level, which actually is adjustable 0, -6, or +6. Very simple. You have a through output and your main input. These are also fan cooled. Now I actually took the handles off of these and looked inside, and very nice build quality. The amplifier module is completely separated from the internal components, which is very good. And the internal components are actually all neodymium woofer and horn. And you would think that this would lead to a lightweight speaker, but it is not. It is almost 60 pounds, which seems really heavy, but because of their compact size, they're about the same size as my NX55Ps, and they have two handles, so they're actually really easy to move around. A lot. The 60 pounds sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. There you can see, designed in Europe by KV2 Audio, manufactured in PRC. Obviously, these are KV2's budget line, so they had to send them to China to be produced to have a reasonable cost. But the cost is actually still pretty high. These retail at almost $3,000 a pair, if not more. I got a really good deal on them, but yeah, the price is really high. But I think if you want the kind of performance these can dish out, you're going to have to pay that or more, because the EX line, which is KV2's higher end line, is actually even more expensive than these. So I'll just turn these back around. So there you go. That was a quick look at KX Audio's KX12. Really great sounding speaker with a mid-frequency response I have yet to hear in any other speaker. Nice full sound. The clarity is something I just can't emphasize enough. They're simply unbelievable in terms of clarity and sound quality. And I guess that's what you pay for. And like I say, I haven't, even though a lot of people say, oh, 500 watts, that's not loud. Well, if you feed a true 500 watts into very efficient components, yeah, actually 500 watts is very loud. Like I say, these are probably the only speakers I haven't been able to bring into limiting in my studio without destroying my hearing probably. So 500 watts don't mean very much these days, but these do deliver a true 500 watts for sure. And as mentioned, the sound pressure level will remain constant through the performance and won't reduce like other competitive speakers. That's what they claim anyway, and those who have tested them will testify that they do exactly that. They've noticed that they could keep the volume level the same through the first, second, and third band set without actually having to bring them up due to power compression. So that's one good thing to know. I will report back on these as soon as I get a chance to try them out at a gig, but so far, very impressed. Not just with sound quality, but the build quality. If you look at these grills, for instance, just the work that went into making these grills, very nice. As well as the finish. If you look at the top here, these are all, you got four rubber corners to protect them from damage, and the whole body is actually kind of feels like a rubber. It's like they put a rubber glove over this thing to protect it. But a very nice detailed grill, and actually the horn is they put a golden film over it. You might not be able to see it, but very nice looking speaker, and I will report more on it very soon. Great addition to my speaker collection. How do they compare to my other ones? Well, I love my my RCF arts. I love my RCF art speakers, and I also love my new Yamaha DXRs. These are just really in a different league in terms of the sound. While the DXRs and RCFs all sound really excellent, the mid clarity found in the KX12s is simply better, really. But you know, that comes at a price. You can't have everything in every speaker. while the DXRs and the RCFs would probably do better in a smaller place and are a little bit more ear-pleasing overall, the KX audios will do better in a bigger hall where vocal intelligibility is important. So there you go. A quick look at the KX audio KX12s. Sorry for rambling on so long. I see this is probably one of my longest videos, but have a great night, and thanks for watching. Poulin here from Party Time DJ Services.